All right, another breakdown. This is the AIGA Championship League. This is going to be a match between Gadzhimurad. I have no idea who that is. So far, these guys have been really good. I've learned a lot from watching their strategy and their technique. Bodoni, I know him from ADCC from was it last year or this year? I'm not sure. The last ADCC, which he performed very well. So should be a good matchup. I believe 91 kilograms. So far the strategy's been pretty straightforward with these guys, with both teams. The Modolfo team has been playing more open guard type of positions, attacking legs, and of course the red team has been doing a lot of wrestling and a lot of pressure passing. So let's see how this goes, and if you haven't joined the Sweet Science of Fighting Underground, check it out. There's a link in the description where you can get access to all the strength and conditioning programs, and you can also get access to more breakdowns and submit your own videos to be broken down. So let's get into it, and let's see what happens here. I'd be surprised to see a lot of wrestling here. I believe the rule is that there has to be a contact before someone can pull guard. There should be some form of connection. Okay, so that was good enough connection. Take a shot, just pull guard. All right, so standard position. This is what a lot of the matches have been starting with. It looks like there's a half guard here for sure. I can't tell if there's a Z guard there or not. Z guard is always good to use against these very aggressive pressure passing type of sessions, sparring sessions. If you have them when you're training, a Z guard is a good option to use. We go to full guard. That's another good option. Just go old school. Go to full guard. So full guard is going to be, especially from a wrestling perspective, there's some techniques you can use to pressure past this, like trapping the arms behind the back and all that. But for the most part, it's going to require really good posture, breaking the legs open, and getting away. So there's a triangle kind of set up there by Bodoni, and good posture, just kind of broke out of that, stands back up, going back into this half. I do like that Bodoni has the overhooks here. He keeps going behind the triceps. And watch his feet here. He could start to look like a reverse X. This is kind of a sneaky move. It's very well known now, kind of the reverse X position from this type of matchup. The reverse X was used quite often many years ago for more aggressive wrestlers, and they would just keep driving forward, and in doing so, they would end up in leg locks. But it's kind of known now, and it looks like he's kind of playing a butterfly right now, so pretty standard. He's keeping a little bit of foot on the hip here. Looks like just to kind of keep some distance. The longer he can keep distance, space kind of between. Bodoni can keep space between himself and Abdulav. The better. That means he has more attacks, and that he can sell just like that, like throwing up triangles, arm drags, 2-on-1 here. He still has an option to go to a full guard. He went for a sweep there. Looked like he was setting up a sweep, going double overs, got a butterfly again. And so right now he has all the attacks. This was just an attacking position. Now he's trying to snap up, do a snap down and get up to wrestle up. I'd be curious to see if he gets that. No, it's a good idea to do this. I always teach guys that if someone is just like we just watched this here, he was kind of stationary. He wasn't necessarily pressing. He was pressing forward, but not really. Wasn't too much of aggression. He's retracting a lot, trying to escape the attacks, the triangles and the sweeps and all that Bodoni was throwing at him. And so he's retracting. So anytime somebody retracts, you should be coming forward, right? That should just be an automatic response to wrestle forward. These guys are good wrestlers, so as soon as you do that, they drive back forward. And so this is what you want if you're playing your guard. Like this arm drag position here. So there's an arm drag, and look at that sweep. That was great. So he set up the arm drag, and you could see the whole time he was playing this kind of butterfly position, and it worked out perfectly. He has a post with the foot here. He's got elevation with a sticky hook here, and lifting over his shoulder, not just to his left, and the arm is trapped, And this should produce a sweep where he gets on top, and it may produce a scramble, but we'll see how well Abdullah can scramble out of this. Cool, right there. So a good scramble up out of the position. He was able to produce this simply because of this underhook here, and just not conceding to the ground. Once he had the underhook and he switched his hips, he's able to wrestle up and get up. Using the head as a battering ram. I've been talking about this, watching these guys using his hands. He's got to watch his head because I've seen already a few times where they've used their head and they've slammed into the face. And here we go. So slammed into Bodoni's face, gave him a bloody nose. I don't think that was on purpose, of course. I think it's just the nature of the wrestling. It's not that big a deal. I mean, I didn't get hit in the nose, so it's not a big deal to me, but I'm sure it's a big deal to Bodoni, but in the grand scheme, it's not that it's not going to end the match. But very interesting tactic here that the red team has been using. I will say that keep continuing to pressure forward and keeping the head center and using it as a battering ram. This is a good technique. You see this in stand up as well. Your head position is critical, and how you will gain position to do a takedown. So I'm going to see if I can fast forward this just a little bit so we can get past looks like they're going to just reset him. So this kind of sucks because, you get blood in your nose, so it's going to be harder to breathe. I'll just do a little replay. Let's see the punch nose. Boom. Oh, yeah. Yep. He's like, well, I like the look on his face. He's like, come on. All right. So it looks like they're about to start again. They'll probably reset them in the same position, which is basically just an open guard or open half. Oh, no, they didn't. They just kind of started in a seated guard position. So, all right, we're going again. Again, Bodoni, you see him playing this butterfly hook here. 2-on-1. I'd be really curious to see how these guys do when they're put on their back, how the red team does when they're put on their back. I haven't seen much of that. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. Again, a wrestle up because he was retracting. Abdullah was retracting. So now Bodoni is using that opportunity to go forward to get a single. I just want to say real quick, just as a note, you don't need to know how to wrestle very well to wrestle up and go wrestle up from your guard. And I say this because, especially when somebody's retracting, one of the hardest parts of doing a takedown, especially in wrestling, is the entry point. There's a lot of things that have to be done to have a good entry. When you get more advanced, you really don't need to blast people. But for us normal people, that haven't spent a decade doing wrestling or something, the wrestling up from your guard, you already have connection with the leg. Okay, so you don't have to. That's typically one of the hardest things to do when you're actually when you're going against somebody that's actually good at wrestling, is getting that connection. So the fact that when somebody retracts and you have an open guard and you grab the leg and you press forward, you've already done most of the hard work. I mean, of course, you need technique and all that to take the person down, but you already have your entry. So I just want to point that out. It's something to note. I like to just always tell students, his foot is caught. I've been talking about these guys with their long red shorts. They're like extra long. I don't understand that. Okay, so we went to kind of a Barambola position, or it might have been a reverse De La Riva position. I'd have to see it again, but going right back, trying to get up, wrestle up with that snap down. Again, the wrestle up forces Abdullah to keep pressing forward. Okay, so this is kind of a good strategy. It forces him to go back into the guard. And Bodoni has a very dangerous guard. Obviously, it's one of the best in the world. So, okay, so now we have just a basic kind of scissor, going back to a full guard, maybe setting up a triangle. So he's setting up the triangle. Abdullah does a good job. He's keeping his hand to the inside. Never underestimate just how good posture will counter most triangles and arm bars before they even get set in. This was actually good, a very good sweep again. There's good play here that Bodoni's actually doing. There's good play between going forward, playing his guard, going forward, playing his guard. This is very active. So this is a good strategy. Yep, that was like a reverse De La Riva, it looks like. So see, when he retracts, he comes forward. So he has to press back forward. And in doing so, he's putting himself in these butterfly positions. Abdullah's putting himself in these butterfly positions and these attacks. See, there's a triangle, which is very active. Now switching to the other side. Now look, I believe this is where we start to see the sweep. We should have a butterfly. And right here. So right there. So technically, it looks like this was actually just a scissor sweep. The basic 101 scissor sweep. I use this sweep all the time. This sweep is pretty much about timing, setup and timing. It's one of the most basic sweeps you're going to learn, but you'll use it forever. And because it works very well against wrestlers. And why? Why does it work? Because the knees here, the knees, if he's constantly staying on his knees here, right? You're not really seeing these guys stand up and try to stand pass. And there's a reason for that, because they probably understand that these guys are very good at leg locks. And the second you start to stand up, you start to open up a whole nother can of worms, because the legs become very available. And at this level, that would be probably a dangerous thing to do. Plus, the strong point is pressure passing, which is smart to continue to do the pressure passing. But in doing so, you're going to run into these type of positions to where both knees are on the ground. You just keep trying to pressure pass, and then the knee, you're going to get basic scissor sweep. Scissor sweep is essentially about timing it correctly and pulling your partner forward, like on top of you, so that the legs become somewhat light. And the better you get at this, you can get this at a very high level. Bang. You notice how he turned his head there too? He had a posture and he turned his head down, almost like a judo toss there. Bang. So now this is going to be interesting, because this is going to be hard for him to scramble out of, unless he gets his knees in and he starts playing some sort of guard. I don't see him playing a guard. I see him just trying to scramble here. And because Bodoni has the inside position now, he's going to go into a mount position. It's going to be a bit dangerous. So now we're going to see how he plays his half guard here. I can already tell that he is not comfortable in this position, just based off how flat he is on the ground here. He's kind of holding on to the leg. The placement of his foot, is not the greatest placement here. So see how flat we're chest to chest now. We're getting flat. We got an underhook here. We got the inside position on this side. Got a decent overhook here. He does have an inside position here and an underhook here. So this could, turn out to be a good thing. Does he have full guard? No, he still has half guard. He's just turning his leg that direction. That's interesting. The reason why he's doing that is because he's stuck on bottom here flat. This is no good for him. This is going to be interesting to see if he can produce. He's really counting on this underhook here to start to produce for him to. You see how he's posting off this foot here? He needs to turn his hips. If he can start to turn his hips, he can start to produce that underhook and maybe be able to produce something. Tony has a body lock on him here with the arm inside. He's pushing on the hip here, just trying to prevent Bodoni from progressing forward, even getting more top connection. In other words, this shoulder driving down to the mat. This should somewhat counter a little bit, but it won't last. It's just too much work. I like that, Abdullah is sticking to this inside position, not giving that up. But now we have grips around the locked grips around the body with the arm inside. And there's a big difference here, just so you know. An underhook, so Abdullah's underhook here, it is not very strong until he can actually get his shoulder here, like in the armpit, right? That means he needs to put his whole arm into the armpit here. And this is hard to do, and specifically in this position. What Bodoni can actually do is the closer his elbow gets to Abdullah's elbow, the more control he has over this position, even with the underhook, with Abdullah having the underhook. This is why the underhook is not doing a good job. Now we have this swimming technique. He's going to swim his leg to the inside, windshield wiper. He's going to start to peel this leg up. He might try to tripod here to start to free his left leg over here. And it looks like there's a bit of a lockdown on the leg here. Not really. I would see the foot. Both feet would be closer to Bodoni's foot if it was actually a true lockdown. He just has basically a triangle here. And he's like, he's being patient. I suspect he's just being patient to wait for an opportunity to scramble out, because that would probably be the best option, judging off of his guard. Okay, inside position. Now where he's climbing, Bodoni's getting higher. Okay. Using his head. Good. Bodoni using his head to pressure to the side to keep him looking the other direction. Okay, so now the guard is open. He's pinned the leg down to the ground here. Now his Bodoni's left leg is going to become free. See how he stepped over? Looks like he stepped over. Now we're in a knee ride type position, it appears to be. Okay, so now we passed. So that was an excellent pass. Really a good demonstration of chest-to-chest connection, keeping your opponent flat, and using the windshield wiper and kind of a tripod to start to free your leg, and then switching to the other side to go to a knee right pass. Using his shoulder now, get some good cross-facing pressure. Okay, so now he's fighting the hand. He has to be careful because, Bodoni's, there's a good setups here. If Bodoni gets control of this, his left wrist, Abdullah's left wrist, he can start throwing his right leg over for triangles and start to do tricks, like right there. You see he threw his right leg over top there to go for a triangle. Abdullah's still doing a good job. He has his hand on the inside. He's still trying to occupy the inside position, but this is certainly not good. Bodoni's very high. And now he's turned the corner. He's dropping that leg over. I hope he's not going to his back. So, so this isn't wrong by any means. Obviously, he can go to his back, no problem. And I always encourage guys when they just start to do triangles from the mount to try to finish the triangle from the mount, and instead of just dropping down to your back immediately. It's better just to stay on top and try to finish in there. Make your opponent work and use the energy to actually get you to your back. That being said, I'm sure Bodoni's extremely confident in his triangles and is doing this position because he's done it 1,000 times. But we'll see if it pays off here. So the position is locked. Notice the left leg is over the right leg. This is, in my opinion, the proper way to hold a soft lock on the top. The triangle isn't actually there yet, but the soft lock, which is just the Xing of the legs here. If Bodoni had the right leg over the left leg, a good posture could pop his legs open. But now that he has the leg that's under the armpit over top, it's going to be very difficult to pop out of that triangle. It's going to drag Bodoni's hips up with his posture. So Abdullah has some space to work with here. He still has his other hand on the inside, and he's kind of gripping his hand because he doesn't want this left arm separated. He does have a combat base here, so his knee is actually up, which is good. This is gonna, if he can drive his knee in between Bodoni's legs, this is gonna be optimal. Okay. So now Bodoni has the arms separated. He could start to produce a triangle here, omoplata, arm bars. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And he got out. So like I was saying before, it would be good to see him stay on top a little bit longer just to see if they could finish from top. But really the problem with this position was that Abdullah had his hands still on the inside, and it just gave him enough room to actually finish with good posture, obviously. So very good. He had to have combat base with that knee and the butt technique. That makes it very difficult to actually finish a triangle. So good job escaping that. And again, the bloody nose just makes it difficult, a little more difficult to breathe. These guys are starting to look a little tired. They got about 25 seconds left in the first round. And, this is a 3-round match. So you get 3 5-minute rounds with a 1-minute break between rounds to go talk to your corner. I suspect nothing's going to happen in the next 10 seconds. I like that he's going for the underhook here and inverting. Ooh, man, he could have produced something if he'd done that earlier. So he's going to a Choi bar type position here. That's a shame because that position could have paid off, could have ended in a submission. He had complete isolation of the arm. That's okay. They'll get a minute break. That technique worked pretty well, so I suspect we may see a little more of that in the second round. I tried to listen to, some of the previous matches, turn the volume up a little bit to see if I could hear what was being said, the advice. I always find that interesting to see what the coaches are saying or your teammates are saying, what they're seeing. I couldn't hear it. So I think the audio wasn't there, so that was unfortunate. Okay, so there's some replays here. Boom. Yep. We saw that. Busted nose. Another headbutt. Good sweep. That was the first sweep. It was a butterfly. And you can see here that, Abdullah on the bottom just, it's not a terrible guard. It's just, it's not at that. That's not, it seems like the strong point here. As you can see, all the time he spent trying to pass Bodoni's guard, and then, Bodoni sweeps, and then he passes in a matter of, about a minute or so. All right, so this is round 2. Let's see if there's any wrestling that we're going to get out of this, and then see if connection's happening or you get the guard. He's just smacking him now. So I always laugh at this technique because I see it all the time. I've had guys do it to me, and it's like really annoying. The smack at your head. It's very distracting, and it actually works. I've been smacked in the head a few times, and it worked. They got a hold of my leg, so it's an effective technique. So we have an underhook here, full guard underhook, framing on the face. This is good. He's trying to hold his posture down here. So pretty good position. If he can hold his posture down here, open his guard, and get some extension with his legs, that will be good to get him extended. Maybe produce a sweep, like a flower sweep or something. I guess you can't put the hands over the mouth. He's warning him to put the hands over the mouth. Looks like you're going for a armbar attack here. He's trying to turn that corner. His hips are starting to turn to an angle here, which is good. He's really fighting for that turn, that corner. Trying to get a high guard. Covering your mouth's got to be miserable when you have blood coming out of your nose. That's got to be rough. Got an overhook position. I like what Bodoni's doing here. I just recognize this and saw this. With his left hand, he's actually pushing his hand down into his belly button. So if Bodoni's left hand pushes Abdullah's hand down into his belly button, he can potentially throw this left leg over top and get it to a triangle position. So you have to be very careful here because this overhook is going to hold Abdullah in this position. So you see that. You see Bodoni's hand right here has that wrist. So he's pretty close. If there's any kind of posture that happens here, he's going to get that left leg out. The only thing that's stopping him from getting that left leg out is this elbow right there. Once that elbow is, he can breach the elbow here, he's going to be able to slap on a triangle. See if he can pull it off. Bang. So you see that. So got over the shoulder. But again, these guys are very good. You see how he gets to his foot, puts the combat base, gets the knee in the butt. Starts to really posture hard here. It's going to be hard to finish that triangle. So the triangle's gone. He does have the arm trapped now into an omoplata position. So this is classic omoplata. Omoplatas are not hard to defend. It's not a super high percentage submission. You don't see it at a very high level very often. It does work. It is a submission. But as I always say, the better you're better the competition, the higher level, the higher you go in competition, the more simple the submissions become, the less things work. So the omoplata can easily just posture out of that. That's good. So Abdullah did a good job of getting out of that. So back to a butterfly. Tons of hand fighting here. The hand fighting is just crazy. Almost another sweep there. You see how when he gets his 2-on-1 here, he uses it to kick that foot out, and he uses his left leg here. Bodoni uses his left leg here to get that sweep to rock him this way because there is no post on this side. Watching the matches between these two teams, it's just a ton of hand fighting. And also thing to look out for when you're watching high-level matches, watch how much hand fighting is done. This is certainly the case in gi. And even judo. You watch judo, it's all about hand fighting. Who can get the grips on the gi and all that. But when you watch the higher level guys go, they'll spend several minutes just trying to hand fight and get good position. So a lot of this stuff starts with good hand fighting. Okay, so he's got to be careful here. Abdullah's got to be careful because Bodoni has an angle. His hips are out to the side here. He can get an underhook on the arm or he can get an underhook on the leg. So he has an underhook on the leg here, so he has to be very careful with his balance because he's going to rotate over. I was going to say he's going to rotate over, but I don't know him. Abdullah's just pulling back really quick here. He's not going to get his leg away because of that underhook. Now he's in trouble because now the underhook is connected. He has the leg reaped over. He's doing a good job with this arm here, trying to free the knee line. He needs to be very careful. Obviously, a knee bar. but he can fight out of a knee bar here. But the rotation there was not good. So now we're actually into an inside heel hook, and this is going to be tough. What he needs to get to keep turning to his side to hide that heel, and he didn't make it. So leg locks, the leg lock defense, I always say, is pretty simple formula. Free the knee line, hide your heel, heavy leg, open the legs up. The legs that are attacking, don't allow closed off leg positions. These are typically your most common leg lock defense for most leg locks. There's the 9 positions in leg locks. If you're aware of the 9 positions, all those positions that are heel hooks, rotational or straight, can be solved to a certain degree with some form of one of these 4 defenses or combination of these 4 defenses. That being said, just one slip up, pulled the leg. He tried to pull away really quick. He didn't get away in time. And then he did that rotation, and then that was it. So really good match. I still say I'm looking at these 2 teams. You can clearly see the strategy. Red team better wrestlers, it appears to be. And, the green team, they're fantastic wrestlers and fantastic judo. But it's just, these guys, these red teams, just on another level. That being said, the strategy of getting inside position, the strategy of their guard and playing leg locks, going into Choi bars and leg locks, seems to be a good strategy with this type of pressure passing, right? So that was going to be the end of this breakdown. That was actually really good. Really good match, really interesting to watch. And this red team is really interesting to study. I mean, they have really good wrestling game and good pressure. So I'm learning a lot from that. So that'll be it for this one, and we'll go on to the next. All right, thanks.